Hey everyone and welcome back to Action on Gamers. This is Senkai and today I'm gonna talk about the PlayStation 4 because I picked one up and I've had it for 3 or 4 days now and it's a pretty cool console and I have a lot to talk about. So first off is the game I picked up with the console, which was A Realm Reborn Final Fantasy XIV, the Collector's Edition. Since all the games on PlayStation 4 still are pretty expensive, I really want to get the most out of the money. So if I could buy Infamous Second Son or Watch Dogs or the Collector's Edition of A Realm Reborn for the same price, obviously I would pick Final Fantasy. Also the box with the great artwork from Yoshitaka Amano I always thought was pretty cool, and I wanted to pick up the box for quite some time because I played the beta on PC and it was really good. But back to the console, what's great with the PlayStation 4 so far is first up the controller. The controller feels great and the touchpad works a lot better than I thought. I thought it would be more like the touchpad on the Vita, where you just press different things in the games and so on, but it actually works as a mouse in Final Fantasy when I play it. So you really don't miss out anything by playing the PlayStation 4 version compared to the PC version, because the controller works really great. You can tab between the map and the chat and everything with a simple button press on square, and the touchpad works as the mouse, where you can just select things really fast, and it's just to write to people, which is a bit slower, but you'll get better at it, and I already type pretty fast, so that's great. Next is the console being region free, which I love. The second game I picked up from my PlayStation 3 back in the day, the first one being Street Fighter 4, but the second game was actually BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, and that game was released like 1.5 or 2 years later in Europe, so that I got the chance to play that game from North America only because the console was region free was a big deal to me, because once the game was released in Europe, the scene that I played the game with, all my friends and the whole competitive scene, didn't play the game anymore, and that was a really great game for me to play competitive at tournaments and so I'm really thankful for the console being region free. Another game I played very early on PlayStation 3 was Tales of Vesperia, which is also a really great game. So I'm looking forward to import a lot of titles for my PlayStation 4, because it's a really great feature. But what's just as good with the PlayStation 4 as with the PlayStation 3 is that you can create multiple accounts on your console. I have one for Europe, North America and Japan to download all the demos and also DLC. Yesterday I downloaded the demo for the latest Yakuza game from Japan in the Japanese PlayStation Store, and it actually works on my European account. When I logged out of the Japanese account and started Yakuza on my European, it works, which doesn't work on the PlayStation Vita, I know. So the region free when it comes to games, demos and everything on the multiple accounts on the console is great. Hopefully if you download DLC on one account it will work on all the others. I really hope so, but I have to try that. Also the menus work really great. Instead of the old menu where you had so many subcategories, you only have 2 now. One where you press up on the D-pad and you get to all the settings. There you can find PlayStation Store, you can find settings and log out and turn off the console and everything, trophies, etc. And if you press down on the D-pad, you come to where all your games are, and I think all the apps as well. So down there you can browse through all your games and just press it and start. Also if you press on the game, you get up, like on the PlayStation Vita, a little menu with the game and news about it and patches and stuff that's related, so that's cool. But it's a great improvement from the PlayStation 3, I think, and it's really nice to have such a simple system, because everything is still there. Nothing is gotten rid of, everything works perfectly, and it really feels great to control. But on to my impressions of the game so far. Final Fantasy XIV works just as well as when I played the beta. Obviously it's a lot improved and I got really much more content now, but I'm still in the beginning of the game, and I have to play more before I experience all of that stuff. But so far I spent most of my time just enjoying the environments and the music of the game. But I also met a few people and leveled up to about level 10. It's really early in the game, but I'm having so much fun so far. A lot of time also spent learning the controls, because they work super good now, but when I started it was pretty hard to navigate, but you get used to it, and with the touchpad, as I said, it works really good. And then I was really lucky, because I wanted to play a game made for the system and not only a port like Realm Reborn. So my friend lent me Infamous Second Son, which is a pretty amazing game. I didn't expect it to be that good as it is. The graphics so far are outstanding. It really shows what the PlayStation 4 can do so far, and later on the console will just show even more great stuff. As for the graphics, what stands out in my opinion is all the smoke, the lightning and all the fire effects. They look great. It's those kind of things that creates frame drops on the older consoles, but here it runs at a solid 60 frames per second with all the effects at the same time, which amazes me, because it's the full resolution as well, 1080p. But it's such an amazing experience, because it's not a game made to look good. Like, I know there are a lot of other games that has great graphic because that's what they're supposed to do, but Infamous has some really cool gameplay gimmicks and a pretty cool story so far as well, so to have that amazing graphics as just a bonus, that's awesome. And one of the coolest things so far is pretty early in the game you climb up a radio tower, and when you're on top of that tower, or actually on your way up, by tilting down the right stick, obviously where you control your camera, you can look down on the city, and the draw distance in this game is amazing. You can see the whole city there, and it was actually pretty scary at times, because if you would fall down, you always have all these superpowers, as in the other Infamous games, to get back on the tower, but yeah, it was really high up and it looked pretty cool. Also, I got to mention that the face expressions on the characters in the in-game graphics, not the cutscenes, are fantastic. You really see people who are angry and happy, and all the different expressions on their faces a lot better than the previous gen, so that's really cool. I can't wait for the next game made by, what's their name? Quantic Dreams. Their game on the PlayStation 4, if they ever make one, but I'm sure they will, it's gonna look pretty cool, I'm sure of it. But that's the only games I played on the system so far. I also played a little bit of the Yakuza demo, but it's all in Japanese and it was just a demo, so I don't have too much to say about it, but it feels like the old games, although the setting is very different. I would like to play the game if it gets localized anytime, but we'll see about that. And I guess before we wrap this up, I would like to show you the insides of the collector's edition, since I picked it up and everything. The box art, that I said, looks beautiful, and when you remove the slipcover from the game, you actually have that exact box art, but without all the labels and the rating and everything, so that's awesome. And inside the box you have a art book with a lot of great art, because Final Fantasy XIV has a own universe. I don't know if it shares the same universe with Final Fantasy XI when it comes to races and monster designs, but for me they're all really new, and to see the new design on, for example, the Cactuars, that was pretty cool, because they look a lot different, and I'm looking forward to see more monster designs. Also, there's a music CD in there, and when it comes to the box art for the original PlayStation 4 case, I thought it was really cool, because when I looked at the game before, I always thought that the manual and the disc had a lot better art than the cover itself, but in the collector's edition you actually have that artwork on the cover, so I was really happy to see that. That's it so far. I'm looking forward to beat Infamous Second Son and yeah, share more thoughts on that game, because I only played for a few hours and it's pretty cool so far. Realm Reborn will take some time to finish, but it's gonna be pretty cool. And the games I want to pick up for the system next is actually Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, because I played that game on the PlayStation 3, and it would be nice to try out the engine and see how it runs and looks on the PlayStation 4. And also, I do not have a copy of Ground Zeroes yet, because when I played it, we downloaded it at my friend's place on his PlayStation 3, just to play the game as soon as possible. So yeah, since I haven't picked it up, why not pick it up for the PlayStation 4 now that I have one? And the same goes for other games as well. Multiplat games that are on the PlayStation 4, like the upcoming Batman Arkham Knight and so on, I will most definitely pick up on the PlayStation 4, so I'm really looking forward to that. But if you have a PlayStation 4 too, please share your thoughts in the comments below. I would really like to hear what your thoughts on the console are so far. And also, my PSN account is Senkai91, so that's a pretty easy name there. So feel free to add me, and it would be cool to play something on PlayStation 4 online so far, because aside from the MMO, I haven't played any other games online, so that would be pretty cool. Another thing, speaking of online, to play MMOs on PlayStation 4 you do not need PlayStation Plus, but you do if you're gonna play online on other games, because I think they don't want you to pay 2 subscriptions to play a game online, but that's a new thing now. You need PlayStation Plus to play games online on your PlayStation 4, but by subscribing to PlayStation 4 you get free games for that system, also PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, so it's really worth it in my opinion. But yeah, that's about it. Until next time, get gaming.